Hi there, this is Heather and Dana from HD.Adventuring.
If you've seen some of our other videos, you'll know that we are in the process of building out a Mitsubishi Fuso into an Overland camper rig.
Though we are still very early in the process of building out our rig, we've had plenty of time to dream and plan about what we want it to look like. We don't yet have the actual box on the back of our flatbed, so there's nothing physical to show you today. However, we're still going to take you on a little tour of our interior. Since our box build is still many months away, our imaginations have been running wild with how our future home would look and feel. My impatience got the better of me, and I ended up downloading a program called SketchUp. After an hour or two of watching tutorials here on YouTube, I was able to make a scale 3D model of our rig. This has allowed us to play around with our layout and make some major design decisions before we actually have our camper here.
Today we're going to walk you through that model to show you how our living space is going to look. We'll also talk a little bit more about some of the systems we've decided to incorporate into our build.
As we've mentioned before, we're working with Alan at Overlander Global to help us build the box of our Fuso. Eventually, our truck will look similar to these other incredible campers built by Alan Francie and team. Now, let's jump into our rendering.
So keep in mind that this is just a very basic mock-up of our build. I'm by no means an expert at this program. Everything is pretty much to scale, so it does give an accurate depiction of our living space, but it's not super detailed, and I'll try to point out anything that's missing as we go through the tour.
The living space of our vehicle will be made of structurally insulated panels. Essentially, these are both the frame and the insulation in one composite panel. Because the panels are pre-cut with windows, doors, and interior partitions, the layout of our build was mostly predetermined for us. However, we don't think we would have chosen anything drastically different from what we ended up with.
So first off, let's start with the exterior of the build. As you can see, I chose to only build the actual box into this model. Building out the truck and flatbed portion seemed pretty daunting, so I decided to just leave that out. Just imagine that the cab of the vehicle will be over on this side, and there will be an open crawl space through from the cab into the front of the living space. Since the cab of the rig is over here, you can see that the entrance door to the camper is here on the passenger side of the truck. We will have extendable stairs that pull out just under the door, which will be stowed away while driving, similar to many RV designs.
You can see that we have many cutouts on this wall, and while a few of them are windows, these two lower openings are for externally accessed storage areas. This one up front is symmetrical on both sides of the truck and will actually be the space under our dinette benches in the sitting and dining area of the interior. So it's a space that can be accessed from this exterior door or by lifting the hinge top of the bench on the inside.
By far the most important part of our design was figuring out a way to store our bikes in a way that keeps them safe from theft and the environment. We've had bikes stolen off of our vehicle before, and we've driven through nasty weather enough times that we just knew we didn't want our bikes living on the exterior of our truck. Obviously, when you live in such a small space, interior storage comes at a huge premium, and even though our bikes are going to take up a ton of room, we made the decision to dedicate a spot for them inside the box.
That brings us to the garage area of our build. This is my personal favorite area. We've opted to enlarge this side door opening and raise the height of our bed so that we can fit our mountain bikes underneath the bed. We've already built a custom slide-out tray for the bikes, and you can watch the video here for how to make one for yourself. This entire garage space is the size of a queen-size bed, so along with two mountain bikes, this area will have plenty of space to house our batteries and HVAC system, as well as bonus other storage for outdoor gear like camping chairs, skis, inflatable paddleboards, etc. We know that not everyone would make the decision to take up so much space for this type of storage, but this is what works for us.
So rotating around to the driver's side of the box, keeping in mind that the cab is up in this direction, you'll see similar cutouts in the panel for windows and doors. This side is nearly symmetrical to the passenger side, and you'll see another access door to the garage space here, which is slightly smaller since the bikes won't need to slide out on this side.
We've also got a matching door towards the front of the box, which opens up to that bench seat in the dinette, just like we have on the other side. All of the other cutouts you see here are windows, which we'll go into a bit more in depth on when we go inside the build.
And on that note, let's go back around to the passenger side and enter through the door to our interior of our build. As you can see when you first walk in, our kitchen space is right in front of you. We have about 6 feet of cabinets and counter space here, and all of our kitchen appliances and storage will be along this wall. Since we were able to get accurate measurements on the kitchen, we've actually been planning out the specifics over the last few weeks. We have ordered and built all of our cabinets, and we've also gotten most of our appliances already as well. We'll show you what we have so far.
These are the cabinets and countertop that we decided to put in our rig. The cabinets are from a company called Quick Lock and made with solid wood. We then purchased a pre-cut 6-foot butcher block countertop from Home Depot. We haven't opened this yet because we want to protect it from damage before installing it permanently in our build. As you can see, we do have a fair bit of counter space, and that is fortunate since our sink and stove will live on this counter. We actually already have our stove here, and we're super excited about our choice of an induction cooktop. We've made a separate video on why we chose an induction cooktop over the traditional propane camp stoves that most campers and vans have, but we really love that it is super portable. We can easily move it off the surface if we need more counter space, and we can even bring it outside and cook outdoors on nice evenings if we want to. All it requires is a standard outlet.
We also wanted to point out that the kitchen has a large window along the wall, so we don't have a whole bunch of wall space to take advantage of. The space between the top of the window and the ceiling is too short for a traditional kitchen wall cabinet, but we actually found some 12-inch wide vertical wall cabinets from the same company that we realized we can flip and hang horizontally in order to take advantage of the space. We ended up ordering a few of these cabinets and plan to use them above the other windows in our living area as well. We haven't placed the order for this yet, but we do plan to have a microwave oven above the stove, which will also act as ventilation for when we choose to cook indoors, which is especially important for such a small space.
Okay, so moving from the kitchen toward the front of the vehicle, this is going to be our dining and office space. Other than this general layout, we haven't made many decisions on the actual products we plan to use in this space yet. Essentially, we will have a U-shaped bench around the front of our living area with a table in the middle. The table will also be able to drop down to the bench height in order to turn this entire space into a bed for guests or just for lounging. This front part of the bench is actually going to be the spot where our freshwater tank sits, so we won't have storage under this part. But if you remember from the exterior tour, both sides of the dinette have large open storage spaces that we'll be able to access from the top or from those exterior doors. Additionally, we will have more storage above each of these benches, since this is the other spot that we were able to utilize those vertical kitchen cabinets in a creative way. Each of these cabinets are 30 inches wide, so we'll have a lot of space to organize our gear and essentials.
Earlier, we mentioned the crawl space through to the cab, and that will be centered here above the dinette. I haven't actually built that cutout into this design because I don't have the exact dimensions yet. Though it won't be the most convenient way to access our living space, it'll be great for days with really terrible weather, or if we ever feel unsafe about where we're parked and don't want to have to go outside to get from the cab to the living space.
Alright, let's turn around and go back towards the rear of the space. This spot across from the kitchen will be our bathroom. We plan to use the space as a wet bath with a simple shower and portable separating toilet. The toilet we chose is very compact and lightweight, so we will actually be able to remove it from the bathroom easily when someone is using the shower. This bathroom is not going to be super fancy, but we've never had a toilet in any of our previous adventure rigs, so this feels like a big step up for us.
And finally, at the back of the truck is our bedroom. This space is big enough for a standard queen-size mattress. As you can see, we have two huge windows in the back, which will be amazing for light and air circulation. However, these windows sit even higher than those in the front of the rig, which means our little cabinet hack won't work back here. We'll have to get creative and build our own custom storage up here in order to have a little bit of closet space for our clothing and other personal belongings. Overall, this build will give us about 100 square feet of livable space. Obviously, that's not huge, but we're super excited to make it personal and cozy and make it feel like home.
Let us know in the comments if you've ever done something similar or if you have any design suggestions for us. Thanks so much for watching today, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content around our build as well as outdoor adventures.
Bye!
See ya!
That's good.